On January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler of the Nazi Party was elected Chancellor of Weimar Germany. Exactly 7 months later, he would begin work on a large campus in the southeast of the city of Nuremberg, which was to become the official Nazi Party rally grounds. Hitler worked with chief architect Albert Speer to design a series of massive structures where rallies and propaganda events could be held. Hitler was a known admirer of Greco-Roman antiquity, from which it is speculated he based his famous concept of an Aryan race. As such, for inspiration, Hitler and Speer turned to 18th century visionary architect Étienne Louis Boullé, whose theoretical drawings incorporated the aesthetics of antiquity into designs on a scale only accomplishable with modern building technology. Because of the Nazi Party's intense authoritarianism, Boulé's fascination with scale takes on an overbearing fascistic quality. Though the rally grounds were never finished to their original plans, by 1934 enough was complete to stage a massive rally, as documented in the monumental propaganda film Triumph of the Will. It is often said that Triumph of the Will is a documentary, but this is not true by a strict definition of the word. Director Leni Riefenstahl had a special talent for depicting scale and crowds in architecture, as well as a fascination for how the human form interacts with the space around it. For this reason, she was consulted on how to stage the parades and rallies to look best on film. In this way, the rally was not just a rally, and the film was not just a documentary. It was a choreographed film shoot, with the architecture acting as the film set and the military personnel as actors. In 1945, Hitler committed suicide, the war ended, and Korea was liberated from the Nazi-allied Japanese forces. But the north half of Korea was liberated by the Communist Soviet Union, and the south half by the capitalist United States. Their irreconcilable economic differences led to the founding of two nations, the Republic of Korea, or South Korea, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, also known as North Korea, referred to here as the DPRK. The DPRK grew to be a notoriously authoritarian state with a massive propaganda wing. In 1954, the Kim Il-sung Square was built in the center district of the capital city Pyongyang. The square is a common gathering place for state events such as rallies and parades. North Korean parades are famous for their excessive display of military might and dramatic emotional patriotism. They are televised for the entire nation to see and are often staged to depict scale and crowds, with special attention to the camera work. Notice how Korean Central Television frames the shots. There is a clear influence from Riefenstahl and Hitler. Modern China has exported its propaganda in the form of social media. Many of these state-run social media accounts focus on the superior infrastructure and architecture of China. Some display the massive state-sponsored projects that are built in China, often claiming that the West could not achieve such feats. Others focus on the unique architecture that incorporates traditional Chinese culture. But strangely missing from these posts is any mention of Tiananmen Square, the famous city center in Beijing that served as the influence for the DPRK's Kim Il-sung Square. Tiananmen is one of the largest city squares in the world and a national icon for China, so its lack of representation in this propaganda may be puzzling to a Chinese national. But a Google search for Tiananmen Square will reveal why it is never shown. In the West, the primary association with Tiananmen Square is the 1989 student riot and the ensuing massacre by state-run military forces. The most famous icon from this event is the Tank Man image. What is of particular note here is how the massively wide road, reminiscent of Nuremberg's Great Road, and the domineering positioning of the tanks, not dissimilar from a North Korean telecast, actually work as a form of anti-propaganda. The oppressive mise-en-scène of the image tells a David and Goliath-like story of a fascistic government turned against its own people. The Riefenstahlian scale and framing still shows power, but not a power of national unity, rather a power of militant despotism. Today, the Nuremberg rally grounds lie in partial ruin. The Congress Hall is used as a warehouse, and the Great Road a parking lot. But the aesthetic principles displayed by Speer, Hitler, and Riefenstahl have had a lasting influence on the global cultural conscience. In 2007, in preparation for the following year's Beijing Olympics, Beijing decided to revitalize their central axis, an 8-kilometer-long road that runs through, among other historical places, Tiananmen Square. To lead this project, this great road of nationalistic pride, they hired Albert Speer Jr., son of Nuremberg Rally Grounds chief architect Albert Speer.